Welcome back to My Harlem Portraits. If you've been following us before, you know that this is a show about shedding a light on the importance of the contribution that African Americans have given to the building of this country and to the getting together of this country. A contribution that has been undervalued, underestimated, and not talked about enough. Today, we are going to talk about Black excellence in theater, and in particular, we are going to talk about a one-woman show that I saw recently and is amazing. And our guest is Dierdra McDowell. Thank you for being with us. Welcome to My Harlem Portraits.
Thank you.
And she is a film, a TV, and a stage actress and a playwright. She wrote this latest Fatigue, this one-woman show in which she stars and that she wrote, and that is dedicated to the latest, unique, and absolutely unforgettable Eartha Kitt. The title is very enticing. It's called Down to Eartha. Wow.
Yeah.
So I want to talk first about the interesting anecdote that I heard about your family and what your family called you when you were a little girl and why.
Oh, yes. Well, I am the first, literally the first American born in my family.
Who comes from originally?
Panama.
Panama.
Panameña.
See?
And I was just born in the USA. So states born means celebrity, automatic. So they're treating, I'm the states child, you know, and I come back whenever, you know, my mom would bring me, you know, to see my grandparents and everything like that. They would call me the celebrity and treat me like a celebrity and treat me like a star.
They prophetized. They knew.
Yes, they did.
That this was going to happen. You are a celebrity.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much for that.
On top of being a celebrity, you are an amazing actress. When I saw your show, first of all, I found out a lot of things I didn't know about Eartha.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about that. But I thought I was looking at Eartha. I thought I was listening to Eartha. You are totally into the part. You are her. And that was what was incredible about this show.
That means so much for me to hear you say that. That is
fantastic.
Exactly.
So everybody has to go and see this show because it's absolutely amazing. But let's go back in time and see, when did you start developing this passion for theater? Where did it come from?
Well, ironically, my mother took me to, I was maybe 6 or 7 years old. My mother took me to Lincoln Center to see a performance, and it was a dance performance. But we sat up in the balcony, way high, and all I could feel, I'm telling you, and I'm a child, but I remember viscerally the feeling that I had sitting up there watching this live performance. And I said, "Mom, I have to be down there." And she said, "No, we can't go down there because these are our seats up here." I said, no. I mean, I need to get on the stage. I have to go. And then she really listened to me, and she's like, "You know, let me see what I can do about getting you into this kind of thing, into performing." So I took dance lessons and ballet, and you know, just a little girl. But at the end of the year, I was performing with the school.
Wow.
In Lincoln Center.
Oh my God.
And it was, you know, I just felt like I belonged. It felt like home. It felt like this is right.
Yeah, you knew
right.
what you wanted to do.
And I knew.
Yeah.
I knew then.
And that is amazing that you were performing the same year in the place that brought this knowledge
feeling.
in you.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes.
It was meant to be, absolutely.
Yeah, kids know, you know, kids are in tune.
Yes.
They have a feeling. I think as we grow, we kind of sometimes separate from that thing that we all have as children. But when I think back about it, I remember, because I did, you know, digress after. But
So tell me, what did you do? Yes.
Well, as I was growing up, and you know, people would say, well, what do you want to be? What do you want to do? I want to be an actress. I would always say that, but I would get advice from older people saying, well, you know, it's not a good idea. You should,
That's not
you
the
know,
career.
Yeah, that's not the career to choose. Like, you should choose something safer. What else do you like to do? They tried to convince me to be an accountant because I got good grades in math. I hated that, you know what I mean? So I chose the fashion industry because at least it was kind of, you know. And I spent many years in the fashion industry, the whole time, like 15 years. The whole time I was in there, I'm looking at movies, I'm looking at plays, and I'm just, again, like I was like the little girl. I was putting myself in that position. Until finally, and then I started a family and everything, and I'm with my daughter out in the out in the street, and someone says, "Oh, you know, you want to audition for a commercial?" And I said, "A commercial?" Long story short, I did a commercial, and that whole process nailed it for me. I was like, "Forget all this.
I want that.
I want to do this." And
you started
and then
from
I
there.
started hunting, like, what do I do? How do I start over again? How do I start? So I took acting classes and started auditioning and found my way.
Here, and all this in New York,
All in
right?
New York. Been here ever since.
And you have been in various plays.
Yes.
You've been in TV shows. You've been in Power, right?
Yes, yes.
Odd Mom Out,
Yes.
Mr. Robot.
Yes.
You also played together with William Dafoe as his wife. Tell me a little bit about this show.
Oh, that was fantastic. It was a film by Abel Ferrer called 444 Last Day on Earth. And the interesting thing about the audition was I had to play, I had to have a daughter, like Willem and I had a child together, and the child was 13 years old. When I auditioned, they thought I was too young for the read, but they liked the acting. They said, "Oh, she's good, but she's too young." And I had to fight for that. I had to fight for that role. I said, "Listen,
you can make some lines on my face."
It was. I had to just. It was just the truth. You know, I mentioned I did have. You know, I have two kids, but at the time I had my daughter already, and she was 13.
Oh,
so
wow.
I said, "Listen, I have a 13-year-old daughter. You want to meet her?" You know, and it's like, so the essence of the real person was really there, and convinced them. And Abel was absolutely wonderful in his audition process. Even, you know, I met with him, and then I met with Willem Dafoe, who actually had the last say. We sat down, had coffee, and he was like, "Tell me about yourself." And so he really had to get a sense of who I really am. And he said to Abel, "She's good to go."
Fantastic.
It was a wonderful opportunity because he is fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
He's really great.
He's a really interesting guy.
Isn't he?
Yeah, very interesting guy. I met him a couple of times because one of my friends is a very good friend of his.
Oh, good, yeah.
So, yes. You were also in the soap opera classic hit,
You remember?
All My Children.
Yes.
Tell a little bit about that experience. When was this?
Susan Lucci is wonderful. And, well, I played a prisoner. I had just a little line in there. But it was the experience on working. I mean, people have no idea what it's like, what soap actors go through. I mean, sometimes it's looked at as, you know, cheesy or whatever, but it's not. They have so much to memorize in a day. And Susan Lucci is a wonderful actress, very professional, very kind to everyone.
That's very nice.
Sweetest person in the world. I love that.
I believe that the real important people, important in the sense that their heart is very important.
Yes.
They are very humble. And they don't need to put on airs and so on.
Yes.
Those are the real people.
And it really shows, and it lasts. As far as, like, even, you know, we're talking about these things for me, that's like years ago, but the feeling is timeless for me. Like, I will never forget that.
Exactly.
I will never forget the kindness. I will never forget the professionalism, because also in that moment I was inspired. Because these actors are working for so many hours, her in particular, wouldn't complain, you know, wouldn't show the fatigue, kept the energy up, kept her body up, and it was just very inspirational.
Incredible,
Yeah.
incredible. So now we come to your latest fatigue, because at a certain point came Eartha Kitt. What made
Thank
you
God.
decide to write about her?
I was, at the time, I've always, you know, we all know about Eartha Kitt, Catwoman, and Boomerang. I remembered.
Yes,
she
I
was,
remember Boomerang too,
right?
yes.
But that was to the extent that I had known of her. But I was taking an acting class with Susan Batson, amazing, amazing acting teacher. And that's also where Mariska Phillips, my director, was
Yes.
at the time working. So and in the class we had to do an animal exercise. It's a wonderful exercise. You have to internalize an animal. So it's like if I am internalizing a chicken or something, I'm not going to act like the chicken, but I might always hear something, like, you know, like, or, you know, so like you're just like internalizing. Anyway, at the end of the exercise, when all the other actors are like figuring out what I am, Susan looked me in the eyes and she said, "I see Eartha." Now, when she said it, I had a feeling inside of me that felt like I was returning to something that I just wanted. It felt familiar, almost like that feeling of being on the stage that I was saying. It was that feeling that you can't describe, but it was a knowing that felt good and felt like I was hungry and I needed to know more. So yes, and I remember first, you know, just looking things up on the computer, and I realized, oh, she wrote books. She wrote her autobiography, and I ordered them. I read them all, and it was easy to read because she's such an amazing writer. She can write. And you will be so absorbed. You will feel like I saw.
It's like a novel.
Yeah, but it's so engaging. You can smell like I have such vivid pictures of her describing going through the forest with her mother trying to find shelter.
Wow.
It's just I heard the crunching of the
leaves
and I smelled. I saw. I felt everything, like if I was there.
You know, this is the feeling you'd give when you, So now I understand why you are like that. Because you are living that.
I feel like it.
You make people feel that, absolutely. It's fantastic.
I love that. And I'm so glad and grateful to hear you say that, because that is my goal. You know, I want everybody to have the experience of Eartha, to experience it. People who have experienced her in her performances, they have this look on their face, in their eyes, and then go back and they're like, oh, and they they go back there because it's an experience. It wasn't like, oh, it was great. It's not that.
No.
Oh yeah, she's really good. No, it's not that at all. It's like, oh, and they go back. So I hope.
Oh, you did it.
To bring that experience.
To me, I have never experienced her live.
Yes.
So to me, it was like seeing her for the first time in front of me, because I've always seen her in movies and so on.
Yes.
So, and I said, oh my God, okay, so I have experienced Eartha. I had that opportunity.
Yes.
So that was wonderful.
Wonderful.
Thank you for that. And this play you wrote, it turns around a specific incident that happened in the White House. I had no idea about that. So tell us about that. What happened and what was the consequences?
Yes. Well, right around the time of when people knew Eartha Kitt as Catwoman, so she now really made a name for herself. And with this popularity and everything, once she found opportunities that she could give back to the community and help, she was doing that. She was in the impoverished areas trying to help organizations clean them up, So she was always listening to the voices of the people, and not for the fame, just because she had the ability to help.
Exactly.
Right. So word got out that she was, instrumental in the communities like that, and she was invited to the White House to participate in a luncheon, a women's luncheon, that focused on why all of a sudden during the time of the Vietnam War, why is there so much crime happening now all over the country? Why are the children behaving like this? Why are, what's going on? How can we tame this? How can we calm it down? How can we fix it? She had a lot of input.
Yeah.
Because she was in there, and then so she goes to this luncheon that she was invited to for this purpose. She had already known from the communities that at the time it was a mandatory draft. Like if you were a certain age and you were healthy and this, that, and the other, you're going to this war because we need you young, healthy people to fight, young, healthy, smart people to fight this war for us. But they're going into the war and they're getting killed and they're getting, maimed, and they're not coming back okay at all.
No.
So they don't want to go to the war. So they'd rather be looked at as not fit to be drafted. Okay? So she had a moment when she finally had a moment to voice her opinion, because really she noticed that when she went into the luncheon, they were talking about everything else except for that. All the women were just happy to be at the White House. They were
chit-chatting about nonsense.
Chit-chatting about nonsense. And she's trying to hold a conversation about, so tell me, what do you think? And everybody's like, oh, but listen, this brand of wine is look at the taste. The First Lady, oh, she's so wonderful. Look at her outfit. Oh my gosh, look at her earrings. And Eartha's like, I'm just gonna pull my hair out right now. So she's like, what's going on here? I've been here. We haven't spoken about what we're here to
the
talk
issue
about.
is.
And so Eartha Kitt was a very passionate woman. And the minute that she starts to do anything, you can feel the energy, so she's talking passionately about what's going on. And
she addresses the First Lady, right?
Addresses the First Lady, saying, if you really want to know why the kids are behaving like this, it's because they are rebelling. They don't want to go into the war, and mothers don't want their kids to be drafted. This is what's going on. That's what you need to hear. And by the end of this speech, it was said that the First Lady was crying, which of course upset the president.
Of course.
Eartha knew nothing about all of this. All she knew was that a couple of hours later, her name was, she was blacklisted. She couldn't get work in the country anymore. She had contracts, standing engagements where she would perform, and they said, okay, we want you here every whatever. I don't know how often it was, but it was what we call a standing engagement. And even the standing engagements were saying canceled. Oh, no show. Blacklisted.
And she realized that it was because of that. And the CIA had even an involvement in that, right?
Yes.
It's really amazing. I had no idea about this. I knew that she lived a long time in Europe, but I didn't know that that was the reason.
Yes.
She came to Europe because she couldn't work in America.
And thank goodness, she was able to survive. They loved her very much.
Oh,
she absorbed everywhere she went, absorbed the people still, but she always felt that, this is my home.
Of course.
This is my home. I belong home. Like you have a place that you can call home. So she, she fought a good fight for, at the time she was also a mother as well.
Yeah.
For her daughter, who she loved incredibly. Like that love. She named her Kit. She named her daughter Kit. So she wanted to make sure that they were going to be okay.
Of course.
Yeah.
And what is amazing about your show is that having this as a starting point, you build around that her life.
Yes.
A life that has been really, really touched strongly by abuse when she was a little girl.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about the life that she had and what struck you most in the books that you read about her and so on, by her.
And this is the part I think also that really drew me in, because knowing the disadvantage, I wanted to go back and just like fight for her in a way and let people know the truth. She wrote 3 autobiographies about this, 4 books, 1 memoir, 3 autobiographies.
Wow.
Now, what happened was her mother was half Cherokee and half African American, was working at the time in a house on the plantation, right? During that time, I think she was a cook. During that time, she was raped by the plantation owner's son. So this was, so therefore Eartha is part white, part black,
Yes.
American Indian.
Yes.
And so she had a slightly, her complexion was like brown, but light brown, not dark brown. And believe it or not, in South Carolina at the time, they looked at you in a different kind of way if you weren't like really like dark like us, then what are you? So she found herself, in that rejected kind of, people looked at her like that. So when it came time for her mother, to backtrack, the family, because she had this baby, also looked down on her, kicked her out. So they were homeless.
As if it was her fault.
As if it was her fault. So she was homeless. So her and her mother, and at the time her mother, I think, also had another baby. So it was Eartha, the mother, and the young baby. They were walking around, going from home to home, and the mother would offer her work services in exchange for a place to stay. So she finally met a man, a black man, who said, look, I'll take you away from all of this, but you have to, I can't bring that light-skinned child in my house. They called her yellow gal.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna have that yellow gal in my house because I have kids already, and she's just gonna start trouble. So the mother left Eartha with the last home that she was at.
Oh, wow.
And at that home, she was abused, she was raped as a baby. They raped the baby. They sexually abused her, they beat her physically with, all the time. They rarely fed her. She had to live out with the animals on the farm.
My God.
And if they ate, she would follow them to see how they were surviving. If the cow ate that means it was safe. So then she'd go, okay, so I'll eat that, so I won't be hungry. It was
terrible.
Awful abuse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really incredible.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how oftentimes from this kind of abuses, you can turn 2 ways. You can be totally broken down and your life is gone, or it can build you up strong and a fighter. And that's what happened with Eartha.
Yes.
And that is what is really very clear and very interesting to see in your show also.
Yes.
How she built this strength from this terrible abuses that she suffered.
I want the whole world to know and be inspired by that, because it inspired me. So you are showing in this show who the real Eartha Kitt is, and this is very, very important. She has also had a very large following always of LGBTQ public. Yes.
Although she was heterosexual,
Yes.
right? What do you think is the reason?
Well, I know that she identified with, at the time, like right now, people are more accepting, but there was a time when people really, unfairly looked at them as something's wrong with them, rejected them,
Exactly.
and that feeling, she understood that, and she opened her arms to them.
The rejection feeling.
Yes, the feeling of being rejected. She knows that, and she knew how they felt, And she always opened her arms
to them, and that's why this community really followed her and loved her.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I read an interview where she says exactly what you're saying in 92. She says,
92.
we are all rejected people. We know what it is to be refused. We know what it is to be oppressed, depressed, and so on and so on.
Yes, that's exactly
So
it.
that's why I asked you, because it seemed very, very interesting, this concept.
And she's fabulous. I mean,
yeah, she's amazing. She's amazing. So we have 2 minutes left.
How?
I know, it just went fast.
Well, you're wonderful to talk to, Maria. I have to tell you.
Listen, what you were talking about is so amazing. This show, it's about this. Okay?
Yes.
So that's why it goes so fast. For me, it always goes very fast.
Yeah.
Your future projects, when can we see your show again at the Dwyer? You had it at the Dwyer's, which is this incredible institution in Harlem.
Yes.
And you're going to have it again.
Yes.
Tell us the date and where we can find out about that.
Okay. Well, I'll be at the Dwyer in Harlem every month up until June. I believe.
Every month.
Every month. So come on down, and actually just go to downtoeartha.com. Downtoeartha.com. So that's DOWNTOEARTHA.com. And you'll see there all the show dates and all the venues, just in case there are other venues.
Fantastic. Wonderful. Yes. So we are going to see you again. I'm coming to see you again because I love this so much.
I love it.
And please, our viewers, go and see the show, because you will be absolutely astonished by the beauty of it. And in saying this, thank you for being with us. We'll see you back next Saturday, 12:30 at my Harlem Portrait. And thank you for being with us.